everybody. How are we doing today? It has been it's been a week. I've been busy. I've been super busy. How's everybody else out here? Any fun stuff going on before we dive into the news? Just realized I'm super close. Woof. That's what you get when you move your camera for meetings. So today we're going to be doing a few things. We are going to look over a bunch of new stuff that has been announced. Morning for you. That's right. Thank you again for, I believe it's the right person, for providing our map for our Project Black Flag Wizard playtest, which was super fun. We stopped in the middle of getting ready to do our 3-stage boss fight using the Treant from our Kobold Press blog entry. So we're using that map. I believe that's the right person in chat. But thank you again for that. Super fun. But we have a bunch of cool things to go over. I got some information from the rest of the den. They've told me to hand off information to the rest of you. Also, if you don't know, we have a huge announcement coming this Friday. If you haven't checked the website, there's a countdown clock and the whole 9 yards. So this is going to be, it's going to be crazy. This is a crazy week. So today we're going to be going over this little beauty. This is the second one. This is done in 2022. And we're going to go over the World Building Guide Volume 2. That's our game plan today. And in here, there is a 30-minute, what they call a spiral, to build a setting. I figured we'll give it a shot. I got a note app up. We'll do this old school. We'll do this like GMs and players do. But we're also going to dive into the book a little bit so we can see what's in it before we do that. But before all that, before we talk about all the craziness that is going to be in this book, we should probably go over the news for the day. We have a bunch of stuff to kind of showcase here. So let me set something up here. I'm going to switch us over. We're going to go to our info cam and go from there. All right, everybody. So we've talked about it in the past, but our Tome of Beasts pre-order is now live. So let me bring up our website here, and I'll drop things in chat. This is the 2023 edition. This is the revised one that people have been asking for. And this is what we got. And this is one of the first times where we are launching with all 3 pieces at the same time. The PDF, the hardcover, and the pocket edition all at once. And you can pre-order also your PDF through here as well. This is a new artwork for it. We went over this a few Kobold chats ago. If you go and check out our YouTube video, you can see we kind of broke down the differences between monsters, how they've changed, what we've done to update them. Look, I'll be honest with you. I mean, you got to think what we're doing right now. We're moving into the future of Project Black Flag, right? So maybe you're getting a little precursor with that stuff. We all know the next packet is around monsters. That's been announced as well. So I'm just saying, we're working from the amazing stuff that we've done and moving it forward into other things. So this is up. That's the big one. Links in chat if that's something. If you're a monster person and you order these books, they're pretty amazing. Today we're speaking of the guides. And I didn't know this until today, thanks to Dot, but we have a guide sale going on right now. Here is the guide sale. This is through DriveThruRPG. I'm going to be dropping link bombs on you, okay? This is the guide sale. DriveThruRPG. If you like these little books, we've looked through another one, which was Kobold Guide to Dungeons, which is our newest one. We looked through that and the 10-foot pole rules that were in there. That was super fun. This is the current one that we are doing. This is a full bundle, the 2023 bundle. It's 107 instead of 146. It's every one of the PDFs, every Kobold guide that we have done, every single one of them. So if you want something to read on your phone, something good to use. I personally am a big fan of actually the world building guide. I like a lot. I'm excited for, but I'm a big fan of the combat one and how to make your combat more than what it is. And then the play one-on-one. What is this? Leavington, will the tomes be updated on Roll20? Does it require a new purchase? Well, this is a totally different book. This one is. The Tome of Beast 1. It's the revised edition. Like, there are monsters that are pulled. There's monsters that have been merged. It's a pretty big overhaul. So as for what's going on with Roll20, I'll do what I always do. I'll write it down, and I will go back and ask the team. Will Roll20 I'm writing on my dry erase board if you wonder why I'm looking over here. I got a big 80-something inch desk that says dry erase. Will Roll20 update, or is it a new purchase? It's a very good question. I'll be happy to find that out for you. I'll put it up now, actually. Are the original guides still up, or have they all been revised and updated? Oh, not the guides. Not the guides. No. Hey, yo, go ahead. I'm here to help. If I don't have questions, I can bring it back through into the den and ask people questions. Because if I don't know, that means that somebody else probably does, and we can get an answer for you. If Dot's in chat, she might even be able to answer. But I record all these down. They go back into our group chat, and then I usually bring answers back the next week at the top of the hour. So I do my best to bring back answers for you all. This is kind of future-proofing how we move forward with stuff with Project Black Flag. But no apologies, man. Thanks for the question. Totally fine. Are the original guides still up, or have they all been revised and updated? The guides are the same. You're talking about these. These are the same guides. These are the PDFs. It's just the full package is on sale right now. That's all this is. This is a bundle. This is revised. This is a totally new book, totally new printing. This is the very first Tome of Beast we put out. That's a separate topic. Separate piece. Separate thing. But it's now up for pre-order. So if you're looking to get Tome of Beast updated, revised, more in line with how we want monster stat blocks to look, more in line with what we think makes it simpler, adding flavor to them, combining things. Like, I think we had something, if I remember correctly, we had like 5 water creatures that had a lot of the same powers, and they kind of slapped those together. This is what you're looking for. But the pre-orders are finally up. That's what I wanted to mostly showcase. Guides are all the guides. There's more, though. We're not... There's a lot going on. We have a lot going on. So this is the link to those. I highly recommend them. They're short books, usually under 100 pages if you don't have them. I'm a big fan. And like, for example, the one we're going to go over today has essays from Veronica Roth, Gail Simone, Keith Baker, Ken Liu, Kate Elliott, and more. That's just in this book. So we get Gail Simone. And there's a line in here that I'm going to read out that I think is hilarious from Gail, because I have been saying it for years. With my time with working with Pixar and companies in Disney, she said something that I 100% knew, and I thought everyone knew, and it wasn't true. So pretty cool. So there's this, but there's more. There's more. If any of you ever moved before, if any of you had to go through the process of moving, because moving, you find out how much stuff you own when you go to move, right? Yes, many times. My college years, I remember I moved 6 times in 1 year. I didn't even unpack anything the year after because I was so afraid I had to move again. We have been in the same place for quite some time for Kobold Press. I'm not moving. Let me make that clear. It's not me. But our warehouse is moving. Kobold Warrens is having a moving sale, everybody. We're doing it. We're having a moving sale. So... this moving sale is deep cuts on stuff because we don't want to have to do everything for it, right? And this just got added before I started today. So we are doing a full movie. Hey, look, it's our Kobold Wizard, everybody. That's the art we use for our PBF Kobold Wizard. Moving 30 years of books, had a box of clothes and 2 books. So this is the warehouse moving sale. Kim is our salesperson, our savant, has asked us to make sure this is out to everybody. So I'm going to put moving sale. I should probably make this a stream elements piece. This is our moving sale. I want you all to see how much stuff is in here. Like, we are cutting stuff like deck of beast box. Like, just everything. Gone. Like sell. So if there is some stuff that you have wanted, check this list. You might find some moving sale stuff where we have extra stuff that we need to move, so we're not packaging as much to move to our new location. Check these out. There's some good discounts. For example, Vault of Magic, one of my favorite books of all time. And these are the discounts that are on them. Vault of Magic, hardcover PDF, 5th edition. If you're looking for some stuff, check these out. Vault of Magic is awesome, by the way. If you do not have this in your arsenal as a 5e gamer, actually just any gamer, you could strip it and make it whatever you want. If you don't have this, you are doing yourself a disservice. Huge disservice. So, moving sale. Get your stuff cheaper. Get it out of our hands and into yours so we don't have to pack stuff because moving sucks. So one more thing. We're not done yet. The first Kickstarter using Project Black Flag officially is up and running. If you haven't seen this, the Vineyard RPG is out right now on Kickstarter. 26 days to go. They're going for a $50,000 mark. This is the first group who's like really in it with us doing stuff with Project Black Flag. But this is 5e core and Black Flag, so you can use all your 5e stuff with it. I didn't know about this project until I saw they were in our partnership Discord. And dude, one, the art, but wait till you see the cast of people writing for this. Compelling villains, sexy villains, gross villains, mysterious villains, you got them all. 9 villains, has a bio, stat block, layer, dialogue, plot hooks, beautiful art, and that's just the start. Queer Gothic campaign guide. This is the art style they're going with for things. It's got this kind of old mirrors, and I love it. But here's what's in it. This is what I was looking for. This was what was sent to me because we're going to be interviewing them in 2 weeks. Next week, we have Tabletop News on right now. And then the week after, we're going to be talking to Friday about this. So you got 9 compelling undead villains, 5-page biography, layers, unique mechanics, scenarios, and plot hooks, dialogue. You can play as a living secret, Whisperborn lineage. I'm so excited to see that. I love secrets in my game. If you've watched any of my shows, I have a shirt that I sell that says secret, secret, secrets on it. So I'm really excited for this. Contract boon and bane mechanics, secret mechanics for running secrets, 5 major locations and 20 ready-made minor locations to play in, 10 horrific new monsters, boilerplate contracts, and how to form legal kimchi to develop your own. That's kind of cool. Propaganda news clippings from the grapevine, and then a thrilling tier 3 adventure. Look at this art. This is the city they're building it out of. Rock Below, Tower of Atonement. Look at this talent, though. Ready? Here's our tiers. There's our unlocks. This is Friday. Let's scroll down. I want you to see the people involved. Gabe Hicks, Sarah Madsen, VJ, Alex, Bashir, Dave. This guy's awesome. I'm super excited to see Sebastian on here. Legal Kimchi. That's why. I didn't know that was that's amazing. I didn't know it was a person. Obviously, our very own Dot. I mean, this is just insane amount of people being involved with the writing. Like, this is high-end talent doing stuff. So, if you haven't seen it, this is up and running. I'm going to put a link for this. And then I think that's all the big stuff. I'll put this in chat for you. Lots of links for you today to look through. Lots of links. The last thing I have is Deep Magic right now. Fantasy Grounds. Deep Magic is now on Fantasy Grounds. It's $39.99. You can pick up the first one. They have screenshots here. If you are a Fantasy Grounds user, they kind of give you the brief on what it is. I'll drop this in for those who want Deep Magic. I'm going to put Fantasy Grounds, though, because this is important if you're a Fantasy Grounds user for Deep Magic. That's all of our links. That's everything. That's our links. Any questions? Deep Magic. And then we have one more thing to talk about later, but we've done all this, so let's get into what we're here for. So I love building new worlds. Building new settings and worlds is one of my favorite things. The one that I hold dear to my heart that I built over the years is the Thontia, which is my soul punk Victorian horror. That's a lot of links. Will there be a test on this? Yes, there will be a test. You must memorize the entire link. I'm just kidding. I'm a big fan of soul punk Victorian horror. I made my own setting. I've played it in numerous systems over the years. And I've kind of built mine in this spiral methodology, not knowing what this was, but micro to macro. And then I do a macro at the end and kind of really big, large scope of things once I know the players are invested. I don't like building macro in for tabletop. For other things, it's a requirement. For video games, stuff like that. A lot of times you got to build some high-end macro things. so you can give it to your writing teams and whatnot. But when doing it for home games, I like to write around what I know the players are going to be doing. And this book dives into the process of making settings from numerous like big people who've made successful worlds, and they're kind of giving you their look into how to do this. So I'm excited. I have a note sheet up, but before we start diving into the 30-minute build, because I want to put a clock. I'm literally going to put, actually, you know what? Hold on. I can put a clock back here. When we get started, I will put a clock up on this thing, and we're going to see if we can do this. 30 minutes with an audience is going to be difficult, right? But we will see what we can do. See what we can do. So for now, I'm going to put some Beetlejuice in the background, and then I'll switch us to the timer clock. See what we can do in 30 minutes. So let's take a look at what we got here. So this is the Kobold Guide to World Building Volume 2. I love that we have made a second one of these, because the first one is a very different beast than the second one. And I want to do the second one because, one, this is the newer thing, and I want people to be able to see what's new and what's out. This is from 2022. It is 112 pages, I think, with ads, and stuff in the back. So probably like 103 is the total pages. This has got a lot in it if you are a world builder. And I think that this is a great way to get new GMs comfortable. No, I think you can do either or. 100% either or. Here, actually, hold on. I have the other one sitting here because I was deciding if I wanted to do them together or separate. And I decided that I wanted to start with 2 to prove that you didn't need to. You didn't need to. I love doing the macro. Let me say that, pro. I love doing the macro, but I have found the time sink involved for a campaign setting. Sometimes you got to make it in 30, you know what I mean? Like, this is my Iron GMing games. So the first Kobold Guide to Things, I'm going to read the back of this is number 1. And then this is number 2. So you can get the different, we even change kind of what they look like on the backs. So let's talk about what the back of this one says. All right. Oh man, I feel you, pro. I feel you. So this is book 1. I'll put it in front of my face. Try not to get the glare. All right, there we go. Role-playing games and fantasy fiction are filled with rich and fascinating worlds, from forgotten realms to I don't know the other one. Gloranthia, beats me. Narnia, Ryla, Middle-earth, Barsoom, and so many more. Took startling leaps of imagination as well as careful thought and planning to create these places like these. Places that readers and players want to come back to again and again. Now, 11 of the adventure gaming top designers come together to share their insights into building worlds, worlds that gamers will never forget. Learn the secrets to design a pantheon, creating a setting that provokes conflict, determining which historical details are necessary, and so much more. When taking the creative leap and creating dazzling worlds of your own. So this is a pretty one, $20. This one's about 100, I think this is 116 pages. I will tell you the topics that are in this one, and then we'll go into the other one. So this one has pieces from Wolfgang Bauer, Monty Cook, Chris Pramis, Keith Baker, Jeff Grubb, Jonathan Roberts, Michael A. Stackpole, the person who killed Chewbacca with the moon. I actually really like his work. It's just funny to say that. Steve Winter, David Zeb Cook, Scott Hungerford, Jonathan Silverstein, and more. And this one was made in, I think it was 2012. So this is 2012. Okay? Give you ideas. Now, we're going to go over the other one. You guys can just see it on the screen. We'll talk about what this one is. I'm going to go all the way to the back of the book. Ready? Boop. All right. Middle-earth, Faerun, Westeros, Eberron, the World of Wheel, Exandria. These richly detailed fantasy worlds have captured the imaginations of legions of fans worldwide. These settings offer world building that launched 1,000 or 1,000 dreams. This is true. I think a lot of these worlds are really big for people. Like, I know some of these are my favorites. I'm a big fan of some of these. Whether you're world building because you want to write the next Game of Thrones, intend to build a rich, vibrant world to enthrall the players of an upcoming tabletop RPG campaign, or you're just curious to find out how these creators did it, Kobold Guide to World Building Volume 2 puts a team of master world architects on your side. Featuring practical essays and roadmaps for the intrepid world builder to follow. This anthology shows you how to create a pantheon of gods. So we're doing that twice. I'm curious to see how those are different. I'm curious. Maybe we'll do a side-by-side. We'll see. Incorporate technology into your fantastical environments. I have found in fantasy set pieces that is becoming more and more true. We are seeing more people take firearms into their world. I like them being in mine, but I'm doing a Victorian set piece, so there's obviously firearms. Victorian Western feel to some of my stuff. Design a world in 30 minutes, which is what we're going to do today. I saw this on the back. I was like, I have to do this. It's perfect for this. Leave space when building a world so the characters can help bring it alive and much more. So 19 stars of people. There's a whole list of names there. That's what we're going to do today. I'm curious the two pantheons. I think pantheons are some of the most fun things to build in the game. So let's look at what we got here. I'm excited. I, again, love world building. I've done stuff with some larger groups over the years. And I find that world building is extremely satisfying for me, not only as a GM, but as a creative. I really like making people be invested, just as invested as I am in something. So let's see what World Building Volume 2 has for us. All right, scroll through. Blank page. Perfect. That's the whole book. I'm just kidding. So all the praises, you can read this when you get on your own. I'm not going to go through that. There's a lot of big names in there for it, which is cool. It's just not what we're here for today. Other books in the series, those are the ones I showed you in the link earlier. These are the people, the tour of all the people involved. There's some big names in here. Some of my favorites are in here, by the way. And then all the people who made this happen, obviously. For Wendy, Wizard is always willing to help. Always willing to take the help action. Awesome. Table of contents. Here's what we got. An introduction. Airships and Dragonbone Barons. That's Keith Baker, obviously. Creates Eberron. Knows a lot about that stuff. Weave your world thread by thread. Good gods. So if that one's good gods, let me see. I'm just curious to see what was in this one. Because you were asking for comparison. Do you need both? Let's see here. Here be dragons on map making. Designing a Pantheon with Wolfgang Bauer is this one on page 81 in the first one. So his is the concept of, let's look here. His is the concept of what's wrong with monotheistic pantheism and belief, mysteries and multiples, agnostic rather than revealed truth, mask of gods, competing faiths, uncertain prophets, and that's kind of how he builds his out. Yeah, of course. So that's what that is. We can look into it in here. I usually read these on my phone a lot of times, to be honest with you. I'm going to move this over a little bit. So I'm looking at the camera as I'm doing this. Because I realize that I am not looking at the camera at all. So what do we got here? It's This Meets That. Spiral Campaign Development. That's the 31 from Michael Shea. I'm a big fan of their work. I think they're hyper talented. I'm very excited to see a little more. I read it briefly. I want to do this with you. Gabe Hicks, again, we just talked about him being in that other Kickstarter. Ken Liu, technology is a set of storytelling tools. I think this is very important for anyone who's going to add how things have gotten better. If you played Civ or Civilization, this is kind of a good look into that. First Came the World, C.L. Clark. Hamster Trek. This is hilarious, by the way. I just read this last night. This is super funny. Super funny. There is an AI app for that. I did play with it. It's unnerving, Pro. And it's very... It's an NVIDIA plugin, and it's very intensive and kind of a hog. So once they polish it, I might use it. Yeah, it's weird. It's like, gonna be this way, and your eyes are like, how you doing? Doing good. You still doing good? Like, you turn and your eyes just don't stop. It's really weird. Building a physical and social landscape. Growing your world organically. This is big. I think this is how I believe a lot of GMs kind of take this perspective. They have an idea, they put it together, they run it, and that's kind of, you know, how they do it. I feel that I don't know. I feel we can build that way, but then you got to go back in and flesh it out, and it's hard. I think that's the hardest part of a world. I think a lot of people get the skeletal structure of their world down really well, but then when you have to go in and do the details, you get a little lost in the sauce. That's my personal belief for a lot of people. So, world breathing, importance of space, deep time on Middle Earth, topography, and what is this? Verisimilitude? Oh, Gail Simone. Oh, yes. No, this is the one. This is the article I got to talk about. Oh, I think we're starting here, by the way. We're going to start there. Revel and relations, and then about the contributors. So, let's scroll down here. Let's get through all the white space. Introduction. And for those who are not familiar with the guides, these are black and white books. They're not art books. They're black and white books to give you digestible information for the topic that's on the cover of the book. That is the whole concept behind these books. They are to make it so you can read it, actualize it, and make something. That's the point of these books. So, airships and dragonbone barons, developing magical industries. For those who haven't played Eberron, there's a lot of magical industries in there. Source of magic. It's a great write-up on why and how it affects things. I think Arcane, the TV series, is another really good example of what it's done. You can see him break into magic. What's it good for? Transportation, communication, healthcare. Think about that. Like, healthcare would be what's sick anymore. What are you dying from with magical healing? What are you dying from? Warfare, industrialized heroes. Great dive. Weave your world thread by thread. A guide to diverse and inclusive world building. I think this is a very big topic right now in tabletop RPGs and how we do it and how to make sure you're building things properly. This is a good walkthrough. Cultural tapestries. Be widely read. Just to be, how can one person be as informed as possible when writing stuff for their home games or creating something bigger than their home game? Be educated, man. Do the work. Do the work. That's really what it comes down to. And then when you didn't do it right, say you didn't do it right and learn. Like that's, I mean, people make mistakes. Like it happens. We're all growing together. Good gods. Sutter. I haven't seen Sutter in a little while. How many gods do you need? I think this is a very good question in your world. And I'm bullet pointing these because when we get to the 30-minute design, I'm hoping some of these pieces bubble up as we are doing our 30-minute design. It's like, how many gods do we need for our world? Is it many gods? Is it singular god? My world is very much based on the idea of a theocracy with one god in the hands of this deity are all the different elements, but they're really part of industrialization and culture and magic and how things work. But they are kind of repainted in an archaic fashion to create belief. That's in my set piece. So how do you do that? There are other gods in my world. They're called keepers. But they're gods that no longer are powerful enough to be deities. They actually have to touch you to bless you with your magic. So that's how I handle it. 2 gods, 1 no god. I almost wanted to Dr. Seuss that. 1 god, 2 god. Just saying. Portfolios, something we're all familiar with. This is a good topic. The call to faith. How do you handle it? Faiths need followers. I have a big belief that a god is only as strong as many followers as they have in tabletop RPGs. The more followers they have, the more powerful they become. So it's literally jockeying for position there in a religious political landscape in a lot of my stuff. Because, I mean, Greek mythology has always played really strong for a lot of pantheons for people. Because that's the one I think we all grew up learning. Filling in the details. Church structure, relations to other faiths, terminology, rituals, sayings. This is huge. I can't push this part enough. To make a world feel alive, you have to have those sayings and things that people speak and the way they converse about a topic that doesn't feel like our world. One of my favorite worlds of all time that did that was Planescapes. I think they had a really good way of having terminology. Cyberpunk, we see its own language in it. Same with Shadowruns and things like that when worlds are being built. Religious specifically, I think that's really important. Taboos, clothes, symbols, holy text, infinite inspiration. By using the methods presented above, you should be able to create fun new gods in a matter of minutes. I agree. This is a structure you can follow, which is needed when you're doing design, especially if it's new to you. The marketplace, microcosm. Who is this one? Ashley Warren. Oh, it's like economy in your world, wars, vendors, how this affects that stuff. The location, atmosphere. Self-contained market is an excellent way to establish atmosphere. I agree. I actually started a modern game in the stock market, on the stock market floor. Super fun. It really set up some tense stuff. It was for Vampire the Masquerade too, actually, and they were all playing ghouls. It was super fun. It's this meets that, using comparables to inspire your worlds. I think a lot. Banana Chan. I love Banana. There is a lot of. When we describe things to other people, we relate them to things that we believe are common ground between us. That is a very common way to not only sell something, but to have conversation. If we know we all play a game, we talk in that way. Literally translated in man's living tomb or rest. Yeah. That's awesome, Pro. But I think that we speak in memes right now online. Like, that is what we do. We use memes as a way of translating and giving information to people. Time for me to sleep. Well, this will be up on Friday for you, Am. Don't worry about it. Be up Friday, noon, over on our YouTube. Thank you for stopping in, and thanks again for letting us use your map. Super awesome. We're not done with it yet. There will be more. I'm waiting for the third packet to do the next one. So I think that we compare things to stuff that we watch to help. Of course. If you got more, let me know. We ain't done yet. We got a lot of classes we're going to have to play test, a lot of packets over the year. So I got a lot to do for Project Black Flag. So we can do these kind of comparables. I think it's important that we keep that in mind. It's a great language. A lot of times when I sit down to talk with somebody and I'm doing liaison work, I'll say, hey, what are you passionate about? What do you like? And if I have a common ground with them, I'll use that as a way to help digest information that is uncommon or unknown to them. Thanks, Project. Wait, there's an audiobook version? Dot, where's my audiobook version? Is it read by the writers? Is Gail Simone reading me sweet, sweet Disney secrets? I hope so, Project. I would love Gail Simone to be reading me. That chapter made me laugh so hard. Anyway. But Banana Chan talks about identifying core experiences you want to create, outlining details of your world, time, place, location, residence, and really kind of breaking down how to do it. Banana Chan is a fantastic designer, newer, I would say newer, but newer on the scene. My understanding, they just moved recently, and I think they're finishing up one of their Kickstarters right now. Super talented. Husband's actually really talented as well, if you ever talk to them. And this here, boys and girls, is what we're going to talk about. It's 30 minutes, but I'm going to skip it for now. I want to get through the rest of this book. We're in a fast-paced scroll through this. We're going to come back to it. I want you to see the rest of the book before we dive into it. Fair? 6 hot takes on world building for role-playing games. Read more novels. I agree. I believe for myself, I consume a ton of content from other streams, shows, movies, books, blogs, and then I stop when I start designing because I only want their influence to be at a level that inspires, not a level that it consumes when I'm designing. That is a personal design note for myself. Unless I'm designing something specific. Right now, I'm designing a John Wick game for playing at conventions. That's different. I'm consuming content so that I can make it feel like it. But when I'm making my own stuff, I like to consume to learn and then put it aside and start my project with that knowledge in the background. That's just a me thing, maybe, but that's what I do. Whoops, wrong one. So think about that when you're designing. Maybe it'll help you. Read more novels. Agreed. World building isn't the same as adventure design. I cannot tout this enough. This is not the same thing. World building is not adventure design. There are adventures within your world, but they are not the same thing. I cannot. This is the thing I teach at all my panels, that it is a very different process, and what you're trying to get out of it is not the same as what you're doing for an adventure. One may inform the other, but they are not the same thing. The world can always change. I always tell people look around. That's very true. Our world changes constantly. I just watched a really cool documentary on why wars are not the same as the war before, and how we grow in warfare, where now what was World War I is not what we're doing now, which is like economical warfare, and why it's grown. And we've seen that as tabletop people from playing fantasy, going into like mega corporations with like Shadowrun and stuff like that. We've seen that in our fantasy set pieces. I think we're a little ahead of the curve. I mean, just my 2 cents on how we do tabletop stuff. Consider your world's learning curve. This is very important. How quickly do they learn, expand? And I think this is important when you are building a world and you have a player who's a crafter. This comes up a lot. But it also comes up in a mechanic aspect. Can people relearn feats? Can they retrain? Can they change classes? Things along those lines. Can they learn things outside of their class? Can they pay money to pick up a language? Can they pay money to pick up a feat if they train and put the due diligence and time in? That's kind of that learning curve, not only just in the game, but mechanically, what are you allowing? I think that's very important when you are building stuff. I know when you play, for example, Eclipse Phase, you change sleeves, the body you're in. If you watched Altered Carbon, very good example of it, you get new skills and stuff when you swap bodies. Kind of cool. Archetypes, as a world builder, you can take a few familiar archetypes and use them as a launching point. Find stuff you like, build off of it, run, is basically what they're talking about. Create a world of problems. I believe in secrets and problems. I did an entire campaign where everything that they could touch or do, I gave a secret. And it could be something basic, like someone touched a broom in the room, and that broom originally swept up the remaining spell components from one of the most powerful spells in the world. I just made it up. And I just started like adding cool pieces of secrets to objects in the world, so that when they ask questions, it was my way of giving them whimsical like information. It was really cool. We had someone who could read objects too, so that got really fun. They picked up read objects. But create problems. You want to know how you're going to have drama, what your drama is, so you can direct it and keep everybody on the same page. The worlds we adore. This is kind of a dive into the things, I believe I remember correctly. This one is creating something based on the stuff that we love, like me talking about doing John Wick. Technology is a set of storytelling tools, or how we can learn to build a world. So this is Ken's breakdown of the Dandelion, the fantasy series Dandelion Destiny. I'm not familiar with this. Are any of you familiar with this series? I should know that, but I do not. Does anyone know Dandelion Destiny? I'm not either. I'm not familiar with it. I have no idea. Breakdown for this. Construction, like how to construct it, what they do. Yeah, Ken Liu. Yeah. Correct. But I'm not familiar with it, son. Is it a good series? Oh, I shouldn't say a good series. All series are good to somebody. What's it about? Before I dive into this next piece. Like, I don't know anything about it. Is it one of your favorites? Is it a novel series? Let me scroll back up. This is a very good question to ask, I think. Is this a novel series? After spending much of my life as a technologist, I now advise corporations, governments, and universities on the vision of the future. I'm also a novelist in an epic fantasy series, The Dandelion Destiny, is known for placing engineers in the position of honor, typically reserved for wizards and warriors. Oh, that's cool. Cool. 100%, Pero. It is my assistant. My assistant and sounding board. I have downloaded, made my own. His name is Nero. 100% agree with you. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know this. This is a great set piece for that. Huh. I want to make a note that I want to check that out. Maybe I can find an audiobook. Dandelion. Maybe I can get him on to talk. I would love to do that. I love interviewing people. That's cool. That's actually really cool. All right, so next topic, next one. Let's go down. Next little short here. What do we got? First came the word. C.L. Clark. Canonizing. So I do something, I don't know about all of you. I run a lot of Blades in the Dark, but in all of my set pieces now I do it where if a player says something and I think it's good, or I think it fits the set piece, or I think it's suiting for what we're playing, I will ask the group, is this now canon? For this campaign that we're playing, maybe not the setting, but just this adventure, this campaign, is that now canon? Is that true that there is a superstition that when you open a door at night without a light, something bad will be outside? Is that now canon? And if the group says yes, I write it down in our canon sheet, and we all have a canonized sheet. Canonizing lore is sacred, but there's no reason you shouldn't be doing it for your own games. You should be creating canon for the things that you run and play. So he talks about canonized lore. So I always think of Star Wars, the fights that happen around Star Wars, Middle Earth, things like that. When you go to run those games, how people are saying that didn't happen, Vader did X. You're remaking your own canon. So canonizing lore, popular culture. He's talking breakdown of popular culture. Let's see here. Is this interstellatial text? Oh, text to cover every other place of media in your world. Your prints, your things that are woven in the fabric of culture, like swear words, for example. I don't know why I didn't know what that was offhand. I swear all the fucking time. I should have known that. I should have known that, right? But break down how swearing works in your world, or how certain pieces of text and word work. Social considerations, creating fictional text, things that are suiting for your game. I always think of Bethesda and how they did Skyrim. I always think about Fallout and how they create fictional text for their games. An exercise of like, think about writing in your world, behaviors and stuff like that. It's a really good practice. Maybe even, this might even be a good like journaling style, like write something for your world as a journaling entry. It's kind of cool, the voice. Only include as much as you need to. I have a lot to say about over-preparing your settings. Everybody wants to make a grand setting, but man, when you over-prepare, you feel bad when you don't get to use that stuff, or you try to force it upon the players. Don't over-prepare. Only include what you need and let it grow as you go. I'm a big fan of that. Hamster Trek, the nature of cooperative creation. This I will not read. I will tell you this is hysterical. I don't want to ruin the punchline or anything involved in it, but this is an amazing short on what they're calling Hamster Trek. It's so good. Like, how does a hamster named Boo fit in all this? If you know about Spelljammer, you know a little bit of what this is. It is so good. It's one of my favorite reads in this piece so far. And then this is cool. Building a physical and social landscape. This is very important. Most of your game is a combat. You got a lot of RP. How the world is represented on a map. What is shown, what is not shown. I always tell people when they find a map, sometimes it's easier to build a world if you get a map you really like for your home game and just build around it. It's how I build adventures. When I'm doing streaming, I go find dope maps from the patrons that I back, and I take their maps and I build an adventure around that set piece versus building an adventure concept and trying to build a map to it. I work in reverse. It's a lot easier to find art that you love and write an adventure around that set piece. And I always relate it back to when you go to run a tabletop game, if you are using miniatures, right? You work in reverse. Like, what miniatures do I have? A lot of people do that. If they don't have time to go buy them, they look at the miniatures they have, and that's what you're using. That's why you see goblins and zombies and stuff like that in people's games all the time. Or you got a proxy, for those who know about that stuff. But how it's represented on a map, I talk about things that get left off. The choices that were made for cartographers and people in power. External map. A map influences the way the world sees. Crucially, they can be described in two ways: physical, geographical, external. An external map is more than geographical or a spatial map. Externals can be called tangibles. Internal maps. This is a great write-up as well. material culture and social space. Why details matter. Breakdown for it. Assemblage of material culture. The spaces where life is lived. Infraction patterns tell the reader. Social space and social power. Physical and social landscape. Growing your worlds organically. This is probably my third favorite piece in here. For those who listen to the audiobook, I'm assuming this is probably one of your favorites as well. My favorite, the consistency is paramount. You can set a rule in place for your setting and what you're making. As long as you stay to that consistency, your players will stay with you. And consistency creates realism. The fact that you're consistent on something that you do makes it feel grounded. This person's saying, sweat the small stuff. I believe, if I remember correctly from this, what they're talking about is the little things are what makes your setting feel real. The little things, like the right boot of everybody in the mountains has a pick built into it in case you have to climb. Everybody leads with their right foot. That toe pick is there because you're in a snowy environment. Every single pair of shoes and boots have them, so you don't slip and fall. Small stuff, right? Engage the senses. Talk about the other senses. You know, we talked about this when we did our dungeon thing. The smell, the taste, those kind of things. History, change in the passage of time. I believe in making a timeline for your set pieces if you're really going to dig in deep. If it's shallow, you don't have to. Pruning back the clutter. Anything that's extra, prune it. I take the extra pieces that I think could be used later. I organize them in note cards or digital note cards, and I pull them to use them when I need something. And they're categorized by the type of extra stuff that I just didn't need anymore. How does this world building book work for running campaigns in pre-made settings like Midgard and developing your areas? Are you talking about like if you're going to play in Midgard and you want to develop out things that are not on the map or just like the circle on the map? Is that what you mean? Like there's a city, but there's no detail on it? That kind of thing? Because if so, I think this spiral piece we're about to do might help. Yeah, we're going to roll back to the 30-minute exercise. I think that's going to help a lot with that. But it talks about basically, you're talking about keeping in tone of Midgard and designing things within the tonality of the set piece. If I'm understanding you correctly. World breathing and importance of space. This is a nice, this is more of an essay on it and breakdown. There's some historical stuff in there, which is cool. We're near the end here. Deep time on Middle Earth. Layering in time and change for more effective world building. If you're a Tolkien fan, this is probably for you. Setting as thin as a sheet of paper. I mean, I didn't say it. Deep time suggests hidden depths. I agree with that. Imagine a newly created fictional world architecture. Say the denizens of this world live in tree houses and spiraling shapes. Then imagine the spiraling tree houses were recent development. How does it, get shaped around things? They're talking about the hobbits. Maybe. I don't know. I have a lot of opinions on Tolkien. I like other fantasy set pieces. I know that's sacrilege. I do respect it. I know that Serving Hands is a gigantic fan, so I can't say too much. Or the next convention they see me at, they're going to beat me up. The topographical. This is what I wanted to talk about. Okay. This is one of my favorite pieces of all time. All right. Let me find the actual piece here. So she talks about working. She met her husband in D&D. She talked about that, and she talks about working for Disney. And where's the Disney line? Build a weenie. Build a weenie. This piece is my favorite. And I knew this is a common thing said within a lot of creative world building spaces. You'll notice at every theme park, there's a tall, visually arresting just off in the distance, something that catches your eye and won't let go. Walt called them weenies, and that terminology is still used today. At Disneyland, the castle is the heart of the park, the first thing you notice when entering Main Street, USA. Then there are the mountains, space, Big Thunder, Matterhorn. Not only do they pull you subconsciously deeper into the experience, they also form a visual guide in your brain, so you can't help but navigate based on them. Just as you would if an actual castle or a mountain was looking down on you in the real world. Fantasy is rich with weenies. I get it, it sounds weird, but I like saying it. The hill called Watership Down and the book of the same name, the central tree of, I don't know what this is, Lorthlin? I don't know, Lord of the Rings. You know what it is, serving hands. The Daily Planet building in the metropolis. It's not an accident. These settings have been a visual clue to immediately making your audience aware of where they are and where the action is. But more than that, the weenies elevate the reality of your world. If we're on a ground looking up, we are looking in distance, we're imagining a much bigger setting than whatever road we're walking on or hovel we're resting in. The weenie concept of having a visual cue to draw people in offers utility far beyond map making. It helps flesh out character and cultures too. Every setting should have characters that are sky dwellers, penthouse owners, castle building monarchs, the powerful who are the righteous, malevolent, or somewhere in the middle. And deliciously for the writer who craves the opportunity for conflict. That also implies the opposite, an entire class of people who live in a more desperate means. Instinctively, we understand this is in a way that is beyond question. We know that there will always be the powerful and the powerless, and every one of them is a story, their own story, with caves and a tower of their own. Yeah, I know what it is, I just don't remember how to pronounce it. The concept of having that grand thing in the distance that people want to look at, adventure, find. We saw it in hex crawls for a long time. We see it in Tolus. There's the huge tower. I mean, Tolus is based around the weenie mentality. There's a lot of things out there that do it. Chels talks about killing your darlings. I murder people in my games all the time. And then we get into the next one. Shauna Germain, one of my other favorite writers. She's fantastic. Break the world to make the world, eschewing history and cultural norms to create a unique setting. If the company that over there does anything that Shauna's at, is they know how to create really, really unique, wild, off-the-wall stuff. It's a great breakdown on breaking the norms, interrogate your assumptions, breaking down your religions, your politics, gender, sexuality, whole 9 yards. Start small, grounding the audience, which I think is very important. You got to ground your audience before you start throwing things at them. Build back creativity. It's true. The real Frank House dilemma is which appendage to dismember on your players first. Look, I mean, if you watch my Mage Trials, it sure was. So that's the breakdown. Avoid perfection. Next one is Revel and Revelations. And they break down establishing social priorities, generating conflict through culture, flavor or focus, points of entry, a nice little bullet points here you could go through. And then we get into about the contributors. Now, with that said, we got I'm gonna put a clock on. We got 30 minutes, everybody. Get your thinking caps on. Get ready to answer questions. I'm gonna pull up an article piece in the back so I can write on it. We are gonna try the spiral mentality to build something in 30 minutes. Okay? You guys all ready? You got thinking caps? Is this the right one? It's Bath or Banana Chance. All right. Spiral campaign. So we're going to put this on the clock. Let's see if this will switch properly for me. Let's do this. I'm going to put 30. I'll put 35 on because we're going to have to, I have to talk to you. This isn't a one-on-one. You know what I mean? Like it's not just me doing it. So I'll put 35. No, you know what? No. Fuck it. We're doing 30 minutes. We're doing 30. Make an alarm. Where is my timer? Set time. We're going to do 30 minutes. All right. Okay. And start. All right. We got a 30-minute timer with a bomb behind me. It will make noise when it's done. Here's the concept, everybody. This is a breakdown of 30 minutes. The concept is spiral design and how it works. The first question we have is what makes worlds different? What makes worlds different? So I'm going to go over here. We're going to pull up our mem. We're going to be able to type on this to figure out where we're at, what makes worlds different, how we like it, so on and so on and so on. So I'm going to write down that exact thing. What makes worlds different? We know that's going to be a topic. We're going to do build from the character. Is it character's perspective, right? Characters outward. Okay, characters outward. Okay. We know we got 2 questions under here. What makes a settlement unique? What character focused locations exist? And those are the beginning of our questions here. We're going to go back and read the brief intro and go from there. Let me, if I can type exist, right? All right. All right, everybody. Let's see what they are asking us to do for this design. I'm going to pull our chat out. Actually, I'm going to pull up the second chat window because I need to be able to see what you guys are saying without having to have this up. Perfect. I'm going to keep sliding it over until it's on this screen. Done. All right. So, in the original Kobold Guide to World Building, Monty Cook describes how novelists need not waste time building out an entire world when they know where their characters are going through the course of the novel. Monty describes it being generally impossible in role-playing games where characters follow many different potential paths through the game. Monty's essay is largely targeted those building campaign worlds that other GMs use, but it's still worth considering when building worlds of our own home games. In role-playing games, we can build worlds the same way a novelist does. Instead, we must build worlds that offer both freedom and meaningful choices for our characters. So, character-centric. What's up? We are going through World Building Volume 2. All of our Kobold guides are on sale right now. This 30 minutes is gonna be hard because I'm gonna have to answer questions. I'm probably gonna have to do more time. I'm gonna stop this until we start designing, and then I will do it. We have our bundle on sale right now, and I wanted to go through World Building Volume 2. It's the whole thing, like $40 off. All of them. One way to do this is with a style of world building I call spiral campaign development. Though I doubt I'm the first to coin the phrase, probably not. I don't remember what I called it. I think I called it cloud development or fog development, I think is what I called mine. Spiral campaign development, I doubt the first. Okay, so in this style of campaign development, we put the characters in the center of our world and build the world out from them. So basically, we start where they are and we build in concentric circles out in a spiral-like pattern. All right? That's what we're looking at doing. Where are the characters right now? What do they see around them? What's the nearest settlement like? What ancient history lies beneath it? What fantastical feature defines a settlement from the... Okay, so we're going to take all of these, right? Boom. Take all these. Now I will start it. That's fair. I'm going to take us back over. You guys can see this, right? Let me make sure you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to get rid of that. This is our 30-minute design. I'm using mem in case anyone asks. I'm going to take it above this, like so. We're just going to copy this in. Whoops, wrong thing. The wrong thing. All right. So we're going to bullet point this. You love when you hit Control Shift V, so it doesn't paint with format, but it still pastes with format because they hate us. One of my most annoying things with dealing with formatting is that they paste with the format. All right. We're gonna do that, and we're gonna do that little formatting work here. Sorry, everybody. And we're gonna bullet point this. Boom. All right, where are our characters now, everybody? Let's start here. Someone said on a mansion, right? Isn't that what the first person said? What do we got here? Bane said there's a mansion up on a hill. It's an old man's farmhouse. Would have gotten away with two if it wasn't for you meddling kids. You know, you say that. You say that. But where are our characters right now? I'm going with this. I'm going to say mansion on the hill right after a crime. Right? Why not? Boom. We know where they are. You said farmhouse, right? Farmhouse manor? Farmhouse mansion. That's your fault. I already feel the horror coming in, everybody. I already feel the horror. Old farmer. But that's good. True. It's true you did. What do they see around them? So if it's on a hill, what do they see around them? Looking out from the, 20-foot tall hill they're on, what's around them? What can they see in immediate sight? What do they see? Creepy woods? I'm going to say the only surviving building in a town. Scarecrows? Okay. I think only lived in building. Rest is run down. Right? What else we got? On the edge of a massive canyon. I like that. It gives us good geography to play with. And then surrounded by towering cliffs and deafening silence. Ooh. What is the silence from? Why is there deafening silence? Ooh, you get to play with that. I like that. I like that. Okay. Any other things? So we got the buildings. We have edge of a canyon. We know there's scarecrows everywhere. We know there's creepy woods nearby. What else is missing? Unexplained. Okay. Okay. Maybe it's the sediment that surrounds the area. Oh, like the silt seas. Silt seas deafen stuff very big. Vibration in the soil. I'm going to put a note. I'm just going to put vibrations. I'm going to do that. We'll go back to it. What's the nearest settlement like? Outside of the area we're in, what is the nearest settlement like? I just said that the surrounding area has no buildings. Is it down in the canyon? Is it across the canyon? It does muffle footsteps. Ooh. Oh, crime. It's 10 miles away across. You're saying that canyon is 10 miles across, so you're thinking like Yellowstone? Yellowstone feel? I'm gonna ask well, we know that. I like that. 10 miles across. No, the canyon isn't that big. It's just across the canyon 10 miles away. Okay. Gotcha. 10 miles away across the canyon. Okay. How big do you think the canyon is across? We could have a settlement in the canyon as well. The short trip away is not. It's a small little town with 4 buildings, an inn, tavern, the general shop, which has almost no goods, the woodcarver's house, and a beaten down smithy. Oh, hello! I want to offer you the Go Fuck Yourself category. Have you ever seen it? It's a really good space. It's where I tell you to go fuck yourself. And I ban you from our group. By reported. And why is it the first thing when you go to report somebody? Why is it just not that it's a bot? Why is the first thing not a bot? You know what I mean? It should just be bot. There should just be a button that says bot. And I should have to click through 3 things, Twitch. All right, gone. And then now I will also block them. Wasted my fun time here, you dick. Anyway, so do we want to put the small building in the canyon? I copy that stuff and toss it in my stream elements filter. Yeah, I have in the past. I haven't set up the stream elements that way. For my channel, it's like that. I think I like the concept of that little town. I really like because we need something near. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have something near. I think it's in the canyon. Short trip away is what? Is it, when in doubt, naming anything, spell it backwards. Town. Yeah, I get it. I get why. We'll just say a short trip away. We won't say where it is yet. We'll figure out where it is later on. Okay? So, what ancient history lies beneath it? Well, we talked about the vibrations. Is it something slumbering? Is it the original primeval that sleeps underneath? Is it a dragon? Is it a beast? Is it the farmhouse manor itself? Is it alive? Is it the snore of a living construct? Is it a titan? Like what makes I like the vibrating ground and things creeping and weird experiments and stuff like that. I like that kind of concept, but like, what do we have? What's ancient? What's ancient history? For example, what was this land before this farmer came? What was that? What did the farmer have here? What was here before him? You know what I'm saying? And I'm assuming we're going fantasy on this. I was thinking ancient construct. I agree. Ancient construct or an aberration. Yeah, ancient gravesite has been used. Hear me out. 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 Look, I like horror a lot. I'm a big horror fan. I like the druid. What if this was an ancient burial site from something? Maybe it's where pets were buried. Maybe it's a beast cemetery. Maybe it's something along those lines. But what if when they built this facility underneath, above in the ceiling, you can see the bottom of the coffins that they cut open and take the bodies out, and they've been building some big monstrosity or building a machine out of the parts of these ancient things. Yes, exactly. Something that like recycles the dead. Because necromancy should have won our polls in Discord, by the way. Necromancy should have won, not evocation. I'm just saying. I like that idea. What's beneath? Let's keep it vague. Let's keep it a little vague. Ancient construct that recycles the dead. And then we're going to bump it one more time. The lands were once a grave site for something unknown. We'll say farmer built because the land was so fertile. There we go. Right? So the next thing is what fantastical feature defines the settlement from the others? So what, ooh, that's the nearest settlement, ancient evil. This is under the, okay, so what fantastic feature defines the settlement? So that settlement that's 10 miles away, what defines that? What defines that? What defines that settlement? How is it different? So you're talking 10 miles away. It's on one of the first rings of the spiral out. Why is this town important? Is it protected? Do they really know what's going on? Is that entire town filled with the things that this construct builds? Like, does it pull these people down, build them into something, and they move them across into the other settlement? And these are just people rebuilt from the cycle dead? The dead don't stay dead? Everybody. What if this machine made doppelgangers? What if this machine, all out, made doppelgangers from the dead? Because they talk about doppelgangers in 5e having the memory of other people. What if a perpetual cycle is just doppelgangers? The people never die, they never age, they just get replaced. They bring the dead back across to the farmland, the farmer makes the food, the thing underneath remakes the people get shipped back out to the surrounding cities. You're never dead forever. It's like a new version of resurrection. Dad returned 3 days later, but something was different about him. Exactly. Like eerie creepy. It's won the city of the year every year. That's hilarious. What do you think? Perpetual cycle? So what's it makes it different? The people are doppelgangers built from the memories and bodies of the previous tenants of towns. You never die. Life is eternal. What do you guys think? Man, I like this. Yeah. Oh yeah, maybe the part with the soil too. Maybe that's why it's a cross. The soil can't be messed with. The soil. Do they eat the soil? Is the soil their food source? Do they eat? Like, I'm envisioning like them picking up like an object, right? An object, like maybe it's like a pie, but when they touch it, their doppelganger field changes the structure of the object and they're eating whatever. So like when they pull dirt out of their pocket and they hand it to you, it looks like the thing you want. Like it looks like they are handing you, like, here's a rock and pebble. And they take it and they hand it to you and it's an apple. The soil is like shapeshift. It's a silicon to a point, but because then that means that the idea of the ever living is even in their culture and what they do. So things grown in the soil, they can shift. We'll say that. Things from the soil. Man, that's the name of this. That's the name of this setting. Soil. Or dirt. Things from the soil can be shape shifted by the reborn. Now let's put DG for doppelgangers. Is the town even a town, or does it just looks like a town because the soil made it so? That's a great... I'm going to go down here. Hold on. I'm going to put secrets down here because I love secrets. And I'm going to copy exactly what you said with your name. Right? Boom. And then we're going to bold this. I like that a lot. I like that. That's a great thing that a GM could pull out of the box. All right. So the next thing we got to answer from our 30-minute thing is, what adventure locations lurk on the horizon? So it's important. He talks about horizons here. I think it's later on. What makes the world different? I'm going to read this while we're thinking about what's in the horizons. While we don't need to write an entire campaign by... Whoops, I hit space bar. Hit space bar. I didn't mean to do that. But we don't need to write an entire campaign Bible. Write an entire campaign Bible before we start running games in our world. Or ever. We still want to have enough information to sell the world to the players. What makes this world different from all other fantasy worlds they've played in? What are the big truths of the world the characters know that the players need to learn? I like to refer to these as the 6 truths. But any number of truths can work to get us started. So we have what makes the world different. We have this here, right? I'm going to grab this. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to set this up while you guys are talking about what's on the horizon. What's on the horizon, everybody? What else is there for adventure? That's the next question. What adventure locations? Pull that back up. I might plug my mouse in. What adventure locations are on the horizon? The canyon, obviously, is one of them, right? It has to be. Canyon's got to be one of the deep-seated pieces. There, plugged it in. So I think we have to do that. The canyon itself. The canyon itself. I like... cave system. There has to be a cave system hiding the construct. What about if the laboratory? Yeah. I think at the bottom of the canyon it would be cool if there were giant skeletal structures left behind that we don't know about. Like I'm talking like dungeons and buildings built out of single bones from creatures. Like an entire femur is turned into like a housing construct. Holly, yes. Yeah, you got it, Bane. You got marrow tunnels. You got it, everybody. Yep. Marrow tunnels. And it's actually the real food source. If you don't want to turn into one of them. I mean, bone marrow has been a thing that cultures have eaten. You know, we still eat it for a lot of stuff. Food source. If you don't want to be one of them, you better find this. Yeah, the canyon could be a cavity. We go back up here. I like that concept. We're just spitballing, right? Really, a large set of dead bone cavities. And calcification. Maybe it grows. Maybe the calcification grows through the actual valley or the canyon. Okay. All right. Awesome. I love all that. Any other adventures? Yep. Yeah, they could be up, and people could have adorned them with stuff. They could be like maybe along the canyon, right? You have these little spires that poke up in areas, but they've bricked and built around these structures, and they're like watchtowers and guard towers. Correct. Hilarious, Bane. You son of a bitch. You have won a place in the Vault of Secrets. All right, so we've done that. So the other thing they have is what we got to go into our next section here. All right, we're crushing here, everybody. We're really kind of nailing this. I'm gonna quickly format this again for us. So we got to go into our next series of questions based on the next paragraph that was given to us. I'm gonna bump this down. We're gonna make this bullet points again, right? And then this is gonna get cut. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. This is gonna get cut. I'm gonna do this because it should go here, and this should be heading 2, and this should be outward, right? All right, so I think we summarized a lot of that really well. I'll put that at the bottom. So the next thing it says is what makes our world different. We know the inside of the spiral. We know where we're starting. But on the outer edges, what makes this world different? Why is it different? Is it another plane of existence? Is it a pocket dimension? Are we inside of a magical construct, like a prison? Like is this thing like a Hellraiser cube? Like are we inside of a pocket space? And the whole concept is that creature trying to get out. What is the reason? What is different about our world? What? What? Wow, upgrade your channel. Girls. Goodbye. Boom. Boom. And report. And report. And I want to put like self-harm for every one of these things just so they actually look at them, but spam. Spam. All right, done. Block this user forever. All right, anyway, back to what we're doing. For all annoying bots. Quasi-utopian high magic floating above the massive islands. I mean, what do we got here? People, Humblewood, right? It's a pocket dimension in which a dead god has been laid to rest. Ooh, pro, that's not a bad idea. Maybe it's not a dead god. Maybe it's a living god. Maybe it's the, like, antithesis of, like, life. And it's just trying to rebuild life fast enough to get itself out. To make enough of its own followers to become powerful enough to break the structure. Because necromancy is good and bad, everybody. We have to remember there are two sides to the necromancy coin. It's a pocket dimension for all, okay. There's an entirely different separate society of quasi-utopian magic floating above the massive islands. Several cataclysms happen, but people don't remember any of them. Doppelgangers are antibodies replacing the annoying human pest. I mean... Hey, I'm gonna say this out loud. Is this inside of a moving Tarrasque? Or a slumbering Tarrasque? Is this inside of a slumbering Tarrasque? I'm just saying. It's the all-time best. No, I'm just kidding. I think we combine two of these. I like the pocket dimension of a god. Of a dying god. I like that. So it makes the world different. Pocket dimension where a dying god is laid to rest. Okay? I like that. And then I think... What's the Society of Quasi-Utopian High Magic floating above? Ooh. Big theory. Real far out. Spiral. What if the pocket domains, this little quasi dimension we're talking about, where all the gods are buried, We're in a graveyard for where they put gods to rest. Like we're in a gigantic demi-plane where gods are either put to rest or where gods are made. Maybe this is the cycle of making a deity. Yeah. Kind of like a god graveyard, yeah. Or the universe's womb for making gods. Or it's a machine that's doing it. Because we all said it's a construct. I love the idea of it being a machine that's making them. Very 9 Inch Nails kind of feel to me. Pocket mention we're a dying god. Let's go to the next one. Let's think about that. Whatever makes our... what else makes our world different? We know it's a dying god laid to rest. It's a good brief summary. What else is important? What else is important about our world? Is there anything you can think of? Otherwise, we're moving to the next one, and we can come back to it. Because you can always add more later, right? Death does beget life. The next question is, what makes this world different from all other fantasy worlds that they have played in? What is different? What is different? How is the setting we're making right now different than the rest of them? Is magic different? Is combat different? Can you not die? Are we the only things that can die? What if we're the only things in this domain, this area, that can actually die? We're it. We're the only things. Everything else is eternal and immortal. That whole God of life thing. We're not a part of it. It's that whole sign on board or you're not. Yeah, maybe we're not from here. You are the only ones that can die. Maybe not from this dimension. Hey, Bane, this is a very important thing. Very important. Do you know that other beholders are made from the dreams of beholders? And when those dreams are real, they split off and make another beholder. And that's how beholders are made, and they hate each other. One of my favorite monsters. Just wanted to share that little bit of info. One of my favorite creatures of all time. It is. So, when you kill someone, they just turn into dirt. Yeah, they turn into soil. Correct. They turn into soil and get regenerated into something else. Natives. What do they call it? What is it when you're from a plane of existence? Is it natives? What do they call it when you're native to that plane? Anyway. Those created here just turn back to soil to be reborn. What are the big truths about the world that characters know that players need to learn? So what does the character know that the player needs to learn? What are the big ones? You can die. You can die. Don't eat the dirt. What else? We got 11 seconds for our 30-minute trial, which actually I think if you did this by yourself, you could do it in 30. 100%. But we're going to finish it. I kind of want to finish it up here. So we did 30. That's what our 30 got us. I'm going to do it one more time. We're going to do 30 again. I'll do 20. I think we can do this in 20. The old man farmer. So the characters know that? Because this is what does the character know that the PCs need to learn? Farmer is the oldest inhabitant. Oldest inhabitant. I like that. That means he's a knowledge keeper of some form for something. We just don't know why. They need to learn it. You mutate if you stay too long. I think you got to be native for that to happen, though. I think you got to be a local. 6 truths. Let's start with some broad strokes. Does magic work here? Does magic work? No, magic doesn't work at all. So you're just going to get rid of wizards entirely? Clerics entirely? I think... Magic is science we haven't learned yet. I think it works, but you only have what you came with because any other component you need has to be dirt and soil. And every day you use soil to make your components, you make a save and a long rest. No necromancy spells. Wouldn't we heighten necromancy spells? Oh, do you have to be a soil person to use necromancy? I like that. Necromancy is for the soil. Necromancy is for the soil. I like that. I think that's pretty fun. Done. What else do the characters know the players need to learn? What else do they know? They're trapped? Is this just a prison? Correct, yeah. Yeah, I think you have to attune. I agree. You can do necromancy if you tune. I think it's a prison. And the sooner they know, the sooner they learn, the sooner they can plan to escape. I like this a lot. All right, so there's some hard truths we've given them. We come up with other ones, we'll add them. Let's go back to the doc and see what's next, all right? So, we started our 30-minute build outwards. What makes the settlement unique? What character focused locations exist? So we did the settlements unique. We just it's necromancy focused with ever living DG built by the god machine of life. Okay? Really? Anything you want, you can have if you attune to the soil. Right? Because you can get to do this as a GM. Do you want it? I mean, you just gotta attune to a handful of soil for the day. And like once all their attunement slots are filled with soil-based items, you own them. You own them. They're bad. They become doppelgangers when they die. This is so devious. So green is people cave geek. I was thinking the same thing. Armies don't seem to have a need to eat. The players, not so much. Right. Every time you attune and when all slots are attuned to a soil item, you are now immortal. How immortal when you... What a great cycle. And then I think this mechanically, this is diving one more stage deep than normal. This is a player secret. They don't share when this happens to them. It's a secret. You can't notice it. You can't tell it. It is 100% a secret. You know what I'm saying? That's my belief. All right. So let's dive into the next part here. What character-focused locations exist? We have the small town. Do we have like a den of survivors somewhere? Like in the marrow tunnels? Is that where the survivors are? They haven't attuned yet in the marrow tunnels of this gigantic creature. What else is there? Is there like a calcification armor crafter? Like, is there someone who handles the growth of bone and makes armor for people? Like a bone forger? What else? What do we got? What is character focused? We need character focused things. Things that are for them, not against them. What else do we have? What else can you all think of? It seems character focused. Ossifier? Yeah, that's a good word. I like that. I like that a lot. Ossifier. We'll put that down. Because I always think of the Osteomancer, which was one of my favorite Dungeons and Dragons magazine classes for 3.5, I think it was. What else we got here, though? What else is character? What other character-focused locations exist? Is there something else that's for them? Like, is the farmhouse actually safe? Is the farmhouse the way out? Is there a guild they can join? Yeah, I'm thinking the marrow tunnels are the survivors. Like a rebel. Like a rebel group. A guild. Call it the teeth of... I want to call it the gnawing. The gnawing. The tunnels protect. We found the tunnels protect us, yeah. I think that's all the things I have from them right now, because I think this sounds like a very survival-based game. Oh, yeah. That's not a bad idea. That's a good secret, Bane. I'll put it down in our secrets category. Oops, wrong thing. I'll cut that. I'll put it in our secrets. That's a great piece for the GM to be able to use secrets. The marrow. Yeah, the marrow. The marrow is for them. Marrow tunnels. Marrow is food. Marrow is food. Reoccurring need to go to the farmhouse. That's true as well once they learn it. What's the next things he asks? What else do they say? First, we want the settlement to be unique in some way. Perhaps one of the huge black monoliths emerged in the center of the town. Perhaps the city is upon a geyser. We already know what that is. Ours is on a canyon. It's on a big canyon made from the dead. Canyon made from the husk of a colossal... of a titanic creature. Creature... or creatures. Okay. Next, build out the settlement by looking at the characters and their backgrounds. Well, we don't know their backgrounds right now. We just know they're prisoners here. And they may not even know that they're prisoners here. The locations make sense for them. Is there a cleric, a paladin, a lord of the sun in the group? It turns out the local temple is dedicated to the very same lord. Perhaps a rogue must pay regular dues to local thieves guild. Ooh. So we would need to know who our characters are to do this part, unfortunately. We would be faking it if we did that part. Building the characters outward isn't just about physical location. We're likely to need elements of history and theology based on the backgrounds of the characters as well. Do we have a cleric of light in our campaign who's the god of light? So we should discuss that part. We'll do this. We will do character focused history elements. That's something we're going to need. We would need to know our characters for this, though. Maybe we'll do... I got an idea. So, hear me out, everybody. When we continue moving forward with Project Black Flag and the stuff that we're doing for it, I know in the background that we're going to build some iconics. You know, we're going to make something that people have to play. There's going to be, you know, downloadable characters at some point in time. I wonder if we come back to this with the idea of the labyrinth that was mentioned in packet 1. I kind of mentioned it in the 2 live playtests we did for the fighter and the wizard. I wonder if we come back to this document and we fill this in based on those characters. And we kind of do like a touchstone and we come back and do it again. I think it'd be kind of fun to come back and see if we can still make this sing into something. Okay? So, just a thought. Something to marinate on. With that said, let me bring up our piece here. So, we can work with our players to fill out some of these details if they're willing. So, we don't have that right now. A land of adventure. This is important, I think. I'm going to copy this piece if I can. Come on. There we go. I'm going to make a new section in our piece that is a land of adventure. And because I have a feeling we're going to fill some stuff out here. This micro campaign we built wouldn't be much fun if adventure wasn't around every corner. Adventurers don't gather because everything in town has been quiet and peaceful. What makes our settlement ripe for adventure? Every small town can sit upon a limitless dungeon, burrowing thousands of feet underground. They're hidden away for thousands of years. Every hollow in a tree can lead to a lost crypt or a dragon emperor whose name has been wiped from the history books. Every inn has a strange sub-cellar that has remained unopened since the days of the innkeeper. A great uncle went missing after going down there looking for a prized bottle of wine. Instead of building a wide world, we want to build a deep one. We build a world right outside of the crumbling stone walls of a local town, and this world expands as the light of the character's torch reaches the dark corners. In a 30-minute world building exercise, ask yourself, what 3 adventure locations are nearby? So, what 3 adventure locations are nearby? We kind of nailed this already. We kind of know. You know what I'm saying? We know that there is the canyon, the DG town, right? And then the farmstead. And the tunnels below. What if the scarecrows too are the doppelgangers being ripened? Like, what if they're pushed up out of the dirt on the scarecrow thing and they're being turned into humans outside? And then they're released. How freaky would that be for a player? And a source of information. They're not bad people. With memories and purpose. That means you can walk in there and walk through this field of scarecrows and be like, hey, I'm wanting information on X person. You go find that person that's faceless but has similar characteristics. Then you could talk to them to learn memories from people in the town to try to find a way out. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Like they've always existed. They were just gone. Like when you're wounded, like let's say you fall off a rooftop and like break your neck in that city. The soil would absorb you, put you back through the machine, put you up, broken neck on a scarecrow piece until you are right, upright and fixed and everything is good to go. And then they pull you, let you go. Ooh, that is so creepy. Got to do something with this. I got to do something with this at some point on stream. I have to use this. Anyway, so I like that. I like that. There's the DG town. There's a farmstead. The tunnels beneath. The scarecrows. I think that there's got to be the creepy forest has to have a space where other gods and avatars watch. Think of it like the mirror, the one-way mirror. Watch the demiplane. That's why you still have access to your spells and stuff like that. I swear, the 5th building never existed. How did it come into being? What do you mean? George's place has always been there. Yeah, it's got a little bit of the Burbs vibe to it. No, no, no. Sam has had that door in the back of his house since I was a kid. Like maybe they're replaced every year because they don't actually grow. They get returned to soil, rebuilt a year older, and they come back. And it's just a constant fucking cycle. Ooh. This is so messed up. I love it. So I think this is the last two questions that he has. We got that. The next one is, what are 2 horizons out from what we just built? What are 2 horizons out? There's a balance between building an entire world and focusing on what the characters can see. The GMs need to be one step ahead of the players. We need to keep the illusion going that the world is living and breathing just beyond the limit of their vision. If the characters can see 1 horizon out, GM must see 2 horizons out. Within the first horizon lies everything the characters see. It might be the town they're in, the current quest they're on, the current dungeon in which they're delving. If we've done the right homework, we should know what lies within that horizon. There's a second horizon. What happens after that? Where might the characters go after they finish the dungeon or explored their town? We know what's going on in this session, but what about the next session? We don't need to think 3, 4, 5 horizons out. Doing so leads us to prepare more than will likely be required, and will make it harder and harder for us to pivot when the characters and the story take a strange turn. We've all been there. We've all either been the player causing it or the GM having to handle it. We've all been there, right? But we need to know what will happen next. If we know the characters are starting in a town, maybe we should know what adventure sites exist in or under or outside. We've answered a lot of these. I think 2 horizons out. I think second horizon is realizing you're in a prison. You know what I mean? What about thirdsies? I think you realize you're in a prison. That now the thing outside of the prison is the escape. So most of this knowledge is secondhand on what is outside. I also think you are dealing with the creepy forest at this point, which is, I think the creepy forest, personally, this is the unmade areas of the prison. Think of this like the necromantic subjects that went wrong. So the things that they made in the soil, that the god of creation, the good god, the healing god, the resurrection god, the things out there are bad. I think you're dealing with evil druids. I love the idea of evil druids. Oh, I'm not right? Surely no first horizon. No, you're not wrong. Mutant doppelgangers? Yeah. That's the next horizon out. I think you get to deal with a survivor group. Like a survivor group, maybe a guild to join. I think you learn new magic that works in this set piece. You know what I'm saying? There needs to be new magic. Maybe you can pull your favorite spells from Deep Magic 2, and other publications and put them in, or create spells specific. Something fun. Oh, and I think items made from soil have emotions, memories, and even intellect, depending on what part of a previous DG was used. And now you get to play with intellect, like smart objects and things like that. Something is eating the dying gods. Yeah, like maybe something is keeping it in place. Is that what you're saying? Like something's eating the necromantic god? Something is eating the imprisoned god? Is that supposed to be there? Is that supposed to be there? Or is that a fault? Is that a flaw? Did something happen? Is the system broken? not supposed to happen. So here's the question. Were our PCs sent to fix this? That's, that's not like the eagle, yeah. Are our players sent to fix this, or are they learning about it? Well, you got to think. Everyone thinks when you're dealing with deity kind of things that it has to be grand scale. I don't actually believe that. Because you could do smaller scale stuff where trials are involved and there's rules that are in place that the gods can't interfere, things like that. Just because it's eating something that can't move doesn't have to make it powerful. But we might be able to find nodes or spaces within here where it's corrupted things that we can stop the corruption or poison the parasite or stop the parasite. But again, we don't need to come up with that now, but it's something to think about as we go forward. And then the last thing that I think there's two more things. What 3 choices lie ahead is the next thing that they ask us. What 3 choices lie ahead? So I'm going to bump this again. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go like this. We're going to make this fast. I'm actually going to do these as numbered. Instead of filling out every square foot of the second horizon, focus on 3 choices. Once they recover the crown of the dead king, the 3 options lie ahead. What do they have to recover? I think learn about the parasite, right? How to stop, escape, or join. I like this because that means this setting can be played from 3 perspectives. That's really smart, Bane. I like that a lot. Maybe there's an org for each one of those that you can be a part of, like an organization. And then I think the last one's got to be... waking the Necro God. How to wake them to get out. How to wake them to do something. Maybe to make sure they don't die. I think that's the next things that they have to do. Learn about the parasite, how to stop, escape, or join, and then waking the Necro God. Super simple. They tell you to layer in history, which is something you would do as you're going 1 or 2 sentences. In ancient histories lie in the dusty halls forgotten underground. With each journey, the characters take into the lost layers of the horizon. I think our layering history is within the doppelgangers. We have a built-in version of storytelling. I would say so. Lies, would you say lies in the hands? Yeah, lies in the hands of the DG and their rebirth. The cycle, and those who escaped into the forest. I think the next layer below that is if you attune, you can start to gain memories of those who have been recycled. Yeah, go ahead. What you got? What you got? I'm listening. Boom. Scroll that. If you wake the god, you get out because the god enters the prime material. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very serious moral decision. Yes, and I love moral decisions. Anyone who's watched my streams and shows before, I love putting moral decisions on the back of the players. 100%. I think Servinghand said it earlier. Making a deal with the devil. Frank House Dilemma, making a deal with the devil 2023 isn't always bad or something like that. It's true. She has seen some of my other live plays. But what's your cool idea, Flag? A Flalargon? What if the players are demigod children of the god? Ooh. They could be the things that maybe... What if they all wake up in the field, right? And the vibrations are the hymns and singing of their dead father or mother. And we just don't tell them to start. You just don't tell them. And the god is sending them out there hoping they can find a way out. I dig that. It's another layer of history, of depth, layering it. Boom. You don't have to give them special powers or anything. They're just kids of. And he believes that dying is how you learn. You live your life. If you just recycle constantly. That is dark. My jam. So we've layered our history. And then the last things that they have, however you prefer. I thought it said flag at first because you're on this one. Is it Flaragron? Flaragron? Am I saying that right? Gron? Okay. Just making sure. Phonetic spelling. So the 30-minute checklist that they give us, let me pull this back up, everybody. 30-minute world building checklist. Here's the final look at our 30-minute world building checklist. Write down the truths of your world, build a starting settlement with a unique feature, fill out the settlement with locations based on the characters and their backgrounds, drop 3 quest hooks locations of choice in front of the characters, which we did. We got the the scarecrows, because I think they're scarecrows at this point, because we're unveiling, we're peeling back the secrets as we play. We have the mansion on the hill, right? And then on top of the manor on the hill, we have our canyon across the way. And we have the canyon down below with what looks like buildings and tunnels and stuff like that built around the bones of a dead titan. And then the vibrations of sound that are the hymns and songs from this god. And that means that the DM can make, I mean rhymes, I went hymns, can make if the god's good or bad based on what they want for their set piece. Write down several one-sentence secrets and clues. We got a whole bunch of them. No doubt our world building can expand past these simple steps, but this is our solid campaign. We just made an entire campaign setting. The only thing I would do after this is I would go through the game set piece that I'm using, 5e, Project Black Flag, whatever, and I would allot some mechanics to pieces to make inspiring mechanics. I always tell people, one of my favorite mechanic designs of all time is very simple. It's the one from Aliens, because stress is a factor that does something bad. But the idea of having extra stress dice to give you extra success is something that is so enticing, you always want to live on the edge of stress. If you just make rules that penalize players, your players will always find a way to circumnavigate it. Every single time, even if they don't mean to. And I've made this mistake countless times in my games where instead of giving them something cool with a mechanic to inspire them to use it, they will find inherently a way to go around. If you say magic is rare, there'll be 3 mages. If you say fighters are the most powerful thing in the world, but they can't use weapons, they'll find a way that there's a weapon. If you say that casting spells on monsters turns you into one, they'll never cast spells on the monster, they'll only cast them next to him, because inherently, players, even if we don't realize it, are problem solvers. They have been trained to solve the problems in front of them. But if you give a mechanic that raises the bar and makes them better at what they do, they will always adopt it. So when you're looking through making this kind of thing and you're making your mechanics to go alongside, make sure that they are you get a really good reward with some risk on the back end that flavors what you're about to run. Maybe for ours, it's a tuning. Anytime you want a magical item, maybe that magical item when you attune, you get if it's a soil one, you get an extra activation. Maybe it's a couple levels higher. Maybe there's something special you can do with attuned soil in our game because it makes people want to do it. Or maybe it lets you, when you die, lose that item and be reborn. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we can do with that. Maybe it's healing. Find a way to make that mechanic important to them. So that's it. That's our thing. Last thing that the author talks about here is channeling your creative drive. People who find themselves thrust in the GM seat often discover RPGs as a creative outlet they never dreamed of. Suddenly we can build entire worlds, entire multiverses, and all the details within, which is why I love it so much personally. We have a blank slate we can fill with our details for the rest of our lives. Many GMs act on that drive and start hammering out details of their world before the dark reality sets in. No one cares about your details. We've all had that GM who just starts spouting everything about their world and the players check out. I have found inviting your players to help with that design when you give a very broad statement and then you ask the players to respond back. So for example, you say when you look down into the canyon off the edge, no bridge in sight, there are structures at the bottom that look like bones and maybe marrow is leaking out or a liquid is. Everything is this pinkish red across the bottom. It's far down and you know the only way across is to go down. You don't see ladders. How do people get down there? And you just ask the players to tell you. Oh, there's tunnels. There's got to be tunnels, and let them make the reason and how. Inviting them to make those means that all the details that you made that were important to you now become important to them. But you gotta let their skin be in the game, so to speak. While some players may fall deep into lore of the world, most players primarily care about their characters. They want to experience the world, not learn about it all at once. The beauty of the Spiral campaign development method is that we get to build the world through their eyes. We build what they see, feel, touch, discover, talk to, and fight. We need not throw away the creative drive. Instead, we can channel it into places the players will care about. Instead of building 10,000-year-old history, we build a history of a lost tomb just outside of the town. Drawing an aperture of our creative drive lets us focus on things the characters and thus the players care about. I think that is a very strong statement to kind of end our show today. I have one more announcement for today, everybody. I hope this was fun. I hope you enjoyed taking the time and diving into the sample of Volume 2 and what we can do. And we did it in an hour, but we got a lot of people involved. We did it in a roundtable style. We have a playable thing that could be used right now that was super fun to make that I think I'm going to use on stream at some point in time for everybody to have fun with. And I'll add some extra little pieces and details that weren't there originally. But we do have one more thing to talk about. For those who don't know, we have been doing AMAs. We just did one on Magic, and we are going to be back tomorrow in Discord doing another AMA about cantrips and utility spells from Deep Magic 2's campaign. So get your questions ready. We're going to be talking about that stuff tomorrow night. If you're not following us on Twitter, you're not following us in Discord, please join up so you can be, ready to go when we're ready to go. Let me grab our Discord. If you're not in the Discord, there is a vibrant community there. I think we're getting a hit near 9,000 people right now in that Discord. There's a really good section on Project Black Flag that's done in more of a Reddit style post. There's conversations everywhere. If you're looking for games, this is a great place to stop by. We'll be doing the AMA tomorrow night in Discord, so if you're not signed up, please do. And get ready to watch for the announcement. I believe our speakers tomorrow are going to be Celeste and Wolfgang. This book is out already. And as a matter of fact, right now, I'm going to quickly drop all of our links in and give us a walkthrough one more time on the stuff that's active for the end of the show. Currently, for everybody, we have our... Can't hear ATM. I have to read. Done. This is the sale. This is the Kobold press sale on here. That's all of them. This is... Let me back this up. This is our moving sale. And then those are the main ones that I should share with y'all right now. What are you talking about? This world is different? What? No. You want this one. What you're looking at is the mega bundle. We have all of them on sale right now. I'm confused. It says why this world is different for the Tome of Beasts. Because this is a new tome. It's a revised. 2023 revised. You want the second link. You want the one that's on screen right now. You want this one. This has the book we are currently looking at today, which is the lovely World Builder Volume 2. That's what we use today. So for everybody else who was here, thank you for joining. Thank you for all the new people here that I haven't seen you here before. Welcome to the Kobold family. Kobold chats are going to be every Wednesday at 2 p.m., barring conventions or something else. We have interviews the next 2 weeks. We have tabletop news with us next week and the producer for that. If you don't know, they have a Kickstarter going on. They want to bring news to you in bite-sized formats. And the following week, we're going to be talking to The Vineyard, our first partner to be doing a Kickstarter with Project Black Flag. And then we got a very special one after that. I can't say what it is, but I can tell you it's another interview. And obviously in April, we have our third packet that's going to be released. If you haven't checked our website yet for Kobold Press, I want to remind you that we have a big announcement on the way for Friday. There is a timer and everything. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check it out, as we are doing something big. We're doing something big. So we are raising the final flag. We are going to be doing a countdown. We have 1 day and 19 hours for a big reveal coming this Friday. If you haven't seen it, I am super excited. So check out that. Check out the sales we have going on, and happy gaming, everybody. Enjoy your day. Play some stuff, and I'll see you all next Wednesday as we interview Tabletop News. Have a great day, everybody, and watch, listen, learn, be a better gamer. See you guys.